Hey folks, Eshan LaCoste here from All Wise Transformation, where we talk about mental health, spiritual practice, and self-care. And today I wanted to talk about dyslexia and sort of what dyslexia is. I took notes on my phone, so if you see me looking down, it's me sort of me checking out my notes. So as a person who struggles with dyslexia, I am grateful in the ability to perceive the world in the way that I do, because I truly do believe that individuals who struggle with dyslexia, not all of us. I don't want to sort of make a generalization or a blanket statement, but I do believe that because of my dyslexia, I am able to, I think, be more compassionate. I think I'm able to be more empathetic, where again, I'm not saying that you need to have dyslexia to be able to have those particular skill sets. Well, when we talk about dyslexia, we're talking about specific learning disorder, or SLD, within the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, that categorize dyslexia as a specific learning disorder. I don't necessarily think if a lot of people are using, at least in the professional world, if a lot of people are using the term dyslexia, but it is dyslexia is more of sort of like, common language, for lack of better word. And so when we're talking about dyslexia, we're really talking about a specific learning disorder, right? This is a neurological disorder in origin, right? So it's a brain glitch. I like to say glitch, because that's really what it is. It's that's your brain trying to process information in a way that your brain is just not set up for. My brain is just not set up for, right? And so the primary effect is that it affects reading and it affects language. And so for each individual, it sort of manifests different, because there are also dyslexia for mathematics. And so individuals do have number struggles, but for me, it's the whole gambit. It's the reading, it's the writing, it's the math. And so it really affects the way that I approach traditional academics. And as a person who loves reading, that's the way to combat it, right? So as complicated as this is, right? In the term of because it's a phonological processing, right? And so when we talk about phonological, which is the ability to recognize and manipulate the sound structure of language, it's a defect. Because of the phonological processing, it makes it really difficult for you to hear, because language is sound, and within sound, there are these inflections, right? And so what makes specifically the English language so difficult is because not only you have to know the sound of the letter, but you also have to know the sound of the letter of the sequences that makes a word, right? And so the word difficult, right? So you not only need to know D, but IFICULTY, right? And so together, those letters make a word, which is a sound. And there's something about the brain that makes it really, really difficult to process. And so I'm a bad speller. And so individuals who are diagnosed with dyslexia also have the struggle of the poor decoding of sound, right? Because again, words are sounds, because we're using it all the time. We don't necessarily think about it that way, but, language is sound. And there is this glitch that happens when you are not able to recognize the sound of a specific letter within that structure. And so the glitch just messes with all of that. Now, not to say that I'm not smart, not to say that anybody who has dyslexia isn't smart. It just is. It's not about intelligence. It's really about the structure of understanding the written language in a way. And from my understanding, right, dyslexia is not just a Western thing, and it's not just an English thing. it's a sort of universal process, and depending on what you read, it's another, it's another variant of the human gene, or it's another variant of the human condition, where nature loves variety, right? Nature doesn't love any stagnant or one form of thing. And so it's important to understand that dyslexia is not a problem of vision. It's just because I have glasses on, and I only have glasses on because I'm getting older and my eyes are not what they used to be. So it's like seeing, it's not like seeing letters backwards, right? Because I think the ongoing myth is that you're seeing letters backwards, and it's not necessarily that. Again, it's really about the way that you're processing information, right? It is a lifelong condition, but with proper and early diagnosis, and specialized instruction, and specialized tutoring, and teachers and individuals who really support you, you could develop skills, right? It is something that I'm always going to struggle with. And so, like I was saying earlier, right, like the way to really work on developing that skill is to read, which reading is difficult, right? The way that I describe reading is, it's like my brain is sort of like interpreting the information as Swiss cheese, right? Cheese that has like holes in it. And so if I'm reading a paragraph, I may get a whole sentence, and so maybe the next sentence I may not be able to read one or two words. And so, because I'm not able to sort of read one or two words, but by the time I get to the end of the paragraph, um, there are holes in that information, right? And so, because there are holes in that information, I don't get the full picture, and so I have to sort of interpret, or assume, or try to guess what they're saying. And I'm so lucky that I live in a time where I have assistant technology. If I didn't have assistant technology like natural speak, or even just Google Speak, or Alexa, or AI, right? I don't necessarily know of how successful I would be, right? I do have my master's I do have my master's, and I am a licensed drug and alcohol counselor. And so, all of that takes education, and all of that takes reading, and all of that takes writing. And so one of the things that I think that I've been really, really lucky is that I've had not only tutors, but assistants to be able to gather information. So having assistant technology, reading, or exposing yourself to reading, right? Because the less you read, you're not developing that skill. But the more you read, you're developing that skill, right? And so I think it feels kind of counterintuitive, right? It's like, because you have struggle reading, I'm not going to read, and so why bother? I'm going to engage in other things, and people do, right? I think individuals who have dyslexia are usually awesome artists. They're sports players, and I even know scientists who have dyslexia. Not personally, but I've heard of scientists who have dyslexia, and so I think that the ability to engage in something that is uncomfortable bumps up your skill, and bumps up your vocab, and bumps up your fluency in the reading and writing process, right? So it is a lifelong condition, but with proper and early diagnosis, again, like I said, that you're able to to manage that disorder, right? And so I think as late as 2025, 2026, research into dyslexia has shifted significantly towards more inclusive neurological and biological based understanding of a culmination of major information of when we're talking about dyslexia is is a conversation that I don't think we have, right? And so I I'm grateful for some days, but for the most part, yeah, I'm grateful for having um a learning disability, because it has created me, right? Like I found myself coming to Vermont for education because I needed a school that specialized in helping and supporting individuals with learning disorders. And so I came to Vermont because of my learning issues, right? And before that, I was in a private high school where everyone in that high school had some form of learning issue or learning difficulty, either dyslexia or ADHD. But there was some level of difficulty that folks were struggling with. And so it has led me into a path of becoming a therapist. It has led me into being a little bit more compassionate, not only with myself, and I struggle with with perfectionism, or wanting to be perfect. I struggle with not feeling good enough, or that I'm fake, because I don't necessarily feel like I wholeheartedly fit in. But I do believe, because of my dyslexia, that I'm able to perceive things differently. And so, because my brain doesn't work necessarily the same way that other people's brains, I'm not saying that one brain is the same as the next brain, right? Like, I think each brain works differently. Even from when you're a younger person, even to and so your brain is constant. I don't think I've ever talked about having a learning disability. I don't think I've ever, again, I've mentioned it to people, and I've talked to people about. I've mentioned to people that I have a learning difficulty, but I don't think anybody has ever asked me questions. I think because I present functional and perceived intelligent, because I have a master's degree, like I'm perceived professional. And so there is need to constantly sort of be really negotiate my ability to read, because reading is slow for me, right? Like I'm not a fast reader. And so, because I'm not a fast reader, and so the information comes in slightly slower. Anyway, so I just wanted to put that out there, about dyslexia, and that it's a phonological disorder. And yeah, and I may put out more information in regards to dyslexia, and what it is, but I don't think we talk enough about individuals who do struggle, but they appear to be functional, right? I think that has always been the struggle, is that when somebody looks like they have their stuff together, we don't question how they got there. We don't question the work that they had to do. We don't question the struggles that they had to go through. And so, because of that, because of my dyslexia, I have come a really long way. And so, thank you to my dyslexia, because it's part of my personality. It's part of my brain structure. It's part of the way that I view the world. Yeah, I'm always nervous, because I don't catch everything, right? I don't perceive everything in sort of like a really sort of quick and fast way, where some people could look at a piece of paper with writing on it, and sort of quickly skim it, and get it like that. And some people have comprehensive issues. I don't necessarily believe that I have comprehensive issues. I think I have a processing issue, a phonological issue, where it's a matter of sound, not vision. And I think a lot of people assume that dyslexia is a visual problem, and it's really not, right? I think the anxiety may play a part in how you interpret a word from B to D, right? Because sometimes I know that in my early years, I did that a lot, and specifically if I had to read in front of people, my anxiety would kick up, would be sweating, and so it doesn't necessarily left me space to be able to really read in a place where it made me feel safe. I think reading has always felt unsafe, because it goes against of how I present as a professional individual who has a professional job, who has a master's degree, and who does not look like he has a learning issue, right? Yeah, I just wanted to share that. But what is your experience with individuals with learning difficulties? Please leave them in the comments. Also, please give it a thumbs up if you resonated with this little short clip. Yeah, be good to yourselves, folks.